Okay, hello everyone. Today we got a chance to present our final project titled Power Flow Analysis and Contingency Planning for IEEE 39 bus system. First of all, I wanna introduce our team members. The first on the right side is they are Dean Aditya Primananda, followed by Denny Ahmad Sobar, and then me Rahmawati Sukmaning Prihantini. As the information, our final project using system simulation software, MATLAB, and Dixieland. But we fully running with Dixieland and compare it with the MATLAB only on the base case. The next is about the roadmap. As you can see on this slide, we start the project with data collection. In this case, we use IEEE 39 data. And then after we got the data, we simulate the data, and the name is base case simulation. After we got the base case simulation, we setting up the voltage range magnitude. And after we setting up the voltage range, we simulate the contingency. By the simulate the contingency, we can analyze the contingencies, and we can decide the strategies to overcome the contingencies. After we mitigate the contingencies, we evaluate the performance of our mitigation. And the next is about the background of our project. Actually, as we know that power system study is to ensure the reliability, stability, and efficiency of especially in IEEE 39 bus power system. Our challenges is the power system study challenges is to analyze the voltage instability due to line and generator outage and need for effective handling of unexpected outages. And actually, utilities have an existing methods to analyze the contingency using a conventional and standard contingency analysis. And in this final project, we propose solution to enhance power flow analysis, comprehensive contingency analysis, and proactive mitigation strategies. The problem statement of our final project is we have an issue here. The issue is after we simulate the IEEE 39 buses, we found that many buses in IEEE bus system operate close to or outside the acceptable voltage range in the 0.94 per unit to 1.06 per unit. And this is risking system instability and equipment damage, power quality issues, and etc. The power system reliability is compromised due to potential line and generator outages, leading to power disruptions. That's why we need for improved contingency planning and mitigation strategies. And from the simulation, we got a challenge to think about what is most effective method to ensure voltage stability and system reliability in the IEEE 39 bus system, and how can Dixieland software be utilized to perform comprehensive power flow and contingency analysis. The next is our goals and objectives. Our goals is to comprehensively analyze the IEEE 39 bus system, and then did a normal and contingency condition using Dixieland. And our objectives is to perform power flow simulation study incorporating contingency analysis and to determine worst case contingency and propose mitigation solutions. And our expected outcomes from this final project is to accurate power flow solutions and detailed simulation results and ranking of the worst case contingency scenarios. And here's the scope of work in our project. First of all, we use a system we need to analyze the voltage stability and contingency planning using a base case simulation and contingency analysis. And we use a method using a Newton-Raphson method, or this is a Dick-Silent method. And we hope we got a result as a voltage compliance and system reliability and the mitigation effectiveness. And what is our methods in our project? As I mentioned in the previous slide, that we start with the data collection. In this case, we use IEEE 39 bus system, and after we completed the data, we can simulate base case simulation, and we run power flow simulation to ensure voltage magnitude within 0.94 per unit to 1.06 per unit, and to validate stability and performance. After we got to result here, we can running the contingency. We running N-1 contingency simulations due to line outages and generation outages. And after we running the contingency simulation, we can identify the worst case scenario, and we can decide the mitigation strategies to overcome the contingencies. To overcome reactive power compensation, load shedding, network reconfiguration. And we hope we can achieve the system stability and reliability. And what if we cannot achieve the stability and reliability? So we need to come back to the N-1 contingency simulations to do a comprehensive analysis. And after that, we can end the final project. For modeling will be explained more by my friends. Sobat, please.
Okay, thank you, Sukma. Hello everyone. In this slide, I will explain the system modeling for our project using the IEEE 39 bus system within the Dick-Silent software. We will also delve into the load, demand, and generation dispatch tables, providing a comprehensive overview of our system's current state and capabilities. Firstly, let's look at the block diagram of the IEEE 39 bus system. This diagram, developed using Dick-Silent, represents a simplified version of a power grid. Each bus in the system corresponds to a node where loads, generators, or other components are connected. The blue lines indicate transmission lines connecting these buses, facilitating power flow throughout the network. Different voltage levels are marked with distinct colors to help identify the various segments of the system. In this diagram, you can observe various components such as generator, loads, and transmission lines, all of which are crucial for maintaining the stability and efficiency of the power grid. The diagram helps us visualize the interconnected nature of the power system, making it easier to identify potential points of failure or areas that require optimization. Now moving on to the table 1, which details the load demand for our system. This table lists each load point, identified by its respective bus number along with the active power in megawatts and reactive power in megafars. For example, lot 3 at bus 3 demands 322 megawatt and 2.4 megafar, while lot 4 at bus 4 has a significantly higher demand of 500 megawatt and 184 megafar. These values are critical for understanding the power requirement of each segment of the grid and ensuring that our generation resources are appropriately allocated to meet these demands. And lastly, the table 2 provides information on the generation dispatch, which lists the generation in the system, identified by their bus number and type. It also shows the power output in megawatt and the voltage in per unit. For instance, generator 1 connected to bus 39 is a VV type generating 1000 megawatt at voltage of 1.03 per unit. Generator 2 at bus 31 is the slack bus, maintaining a voltage of 0.982 per unit with no specific power output mentioned, as it adjusts to balance the system. All in all, the generator dispatch strategy is designed to optimize resource utilization and maintain system stability by ensuring that power is generated in the most efficient manner and deliver where it is needed most. Next slide, please. Okay, this data is essential for understanding the operational characteristic and stability of our power system. Let's examine table 3, which present the lines data based on 100 mega MVA base. This table includes parameters such as the resistance, reactance, and susceptance of each transmission line segment. In a nutshell, the line connecting bus 1 to bus 2 has a resistance of 0.0035 per unit, a reactance of 0.0411 per unit, and a susceptance of 0.6987 per unit. Next, table 5 shows the transformer data based on 100 MVA base. This table lists the impedance, R and X, transformer type setting, and their corresponding angles. This data is vital for voltage regulation and ensuring that power is transferred efficiently between different voltage levels in the network. Moving on to the table 6, we have the generation data, which includes various parameters such as transient reactance, synchronous reactance, and time constants. These parameters are crucial for modeling the dynamic behaviors of generators, especially during transient conditions such as faults or sudden load changes to ensure system stability. And lastly, table 7 details the automatic voltage regulator AVR data. This table includes various AVR parameters such as gain, KA, time constant, and limits. DFVR plays a critical role in maintaining the voltage levels of the generators, thus ensuring voltage stability across the power systems. Next. Okay, we will delve into the best case simulation of the IEEE 39 bus system, a crucial step in our power system analysis. The best case simulation involves running the power system model under normal operation condition without any fault or contingency. Okay, next. Firstly, it is important to highlight that MATLAB is used here primarily for initial comparison purposes in our best case power flow simulation. This allows us to validate our system model and establish a benchmark before proceeding with more complex simulation using Dicksilent software. The Gauss-Seidel method, which an iterative technique for solving the load flow problem, is utilized in MATLAB simulation. This method is particularly useful for its simplicity and ease of implementation. Thus, it might require more iteration to compare to other methods like Newton-Raphson's. In our simulation, the Gauss-Seidel method requires 21 iterations to reach convergence. This indicates the number of times the algorithm cycled through the equation to achieve the consistent solution across all buses in the system. Let's take a closer look at the result. The total load in the system amount to 6,097 megawatt and 1,400 MVAR. On the generator side, the total power generated is 6,140 megawatt with a reactive power of minus 140 megavar. These totals are crucial for ensuring that power generated meets the demand, maintaining system balance and stability. Next slide. Okay, this is Dickey-Ceylan New-Repton methods. We use as the main tools for this project due to its advanced features and robust capabilities in handling complex power system analysis. It provides comprehensive solutions for various power system studies, making it an ideal choice for our project. The Newton-Raphson method is utilized in the simulation. This iterative method is known for its fast convergence and high accuracy, making it suitable for large power system like ours. It efficiently solves the nonlinear power flow equation to provide precise results. In our simulation, the Newton-Raphson method requires only 4 iterations to converge. This is significantly faster compared to the 21 iteration needed by the Gauss-Seidel method used in MATLAB, as discussed in the previous slide. This highlights the efficiency of the Newton-Raphson method in solving power flow problems. Uh, the total load in the system is quite same with the Gauss-Seidel, and this value uh, also ensure that power generated adequately meets the system's demand. Additionally, the total grid losses amount to 43.31 megawatt and minus 175.56 megavar. These losses are an inevitable part of power transmission and distribution, and understanding them is crucial for improving the system's efficiency. All in all, the power flow solution using this Ceylan and the Newton-Raphson methods provides a reliable and efficient analysis of our power system. Next. Okay, moving to the power flow solution in terms of voltage and angles. We will continue our discussion on the power flow solution using the Newton-Raphson method in Dickey-Ceylan. We will focus on the voltage magnitudes and angle across the system. As illustrated in the results, we observe a critical issue at bus 36 where the voltage magnitude exceeds the maximum limit of 1.06 per unit. Specifically, the voltage magnitude at bus 36 is recorded at 1.0635 per unit. This but the significant deviation indicates that bus 36 is operating outside its acceptable voltage range, which could potentially lead to instability and equipment damage if not addressed promptly. Maintaining voltage levels within specified limits is essential for the reliable operation of the power system. Excessive voltage can cause overvoltage conditions, leading to insulation breakdown and damage to sensitive equipment. In the diagram, the line associated with bus 36 has changed color to orange, signaling the presence of these voltage issues. This visual indicator is a feature in Dickey-Ceylan that helps quickly identify and address anomalies within the system. The color change to orange emphasizes the need for immediate attention to this part of the network. The orange line in the diagram represents the transformer and lines connected to bus 36. The voltage magnitude and angle data for bus 36 and its neighboring buses indicate that corrective measures need to be taken to bring the voltage back within acceptable limits. Okay, the bar graph and the right side uh, of the slide provide a comprehensive overview of the voltage magnitudes and angle across all buses in the system. The graph for voltage magnitude shows that most buses are within the acceptable range except for bus 36. Next. To mitigate the voltage magnitude issues at bus 36, we adjusted the setting for minimum and maximum voltage violation in Dickey-Ceylan. This process involves configuring the voltage limit to ensure that the voltage level remain within acceptable range. Specifically, The maximum voltage limit was set at 1.06 per unit, and the minimum voltage limit was set at 0.94 per unit. The settings help maintain system stability by preventing voltage levels from exceeding the thresholds. After implementing the corrective measures, the voltage at bus 36 was successfully brought down to within the maximum voltage limit of 1.06 per unit. As seen in the diagram, the voltage magnitude at bus 36 is now exactly 1.06 per unit, indicating that the issues has been effectively mitigated. The color change in the associated with bus 36 back to normal signifies that the voltage violation has been resolved. Okay, next. Okay, our next focus will be on contingency analysis, which will be presented by Dian Aditya. Dian, it's yours.
Okay, thank you. So next slide is procedure contingency analysis from Dixieland Power Factory. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is the procedure in Dixieland Power Factory application to get the contingency analysis N-1. The first picture is by clicking this icon on the Dixieland application will open the contingency analysis window. And we choose generate fault case for library. This creates a fault case for the library, but doesn't perform an immediate analysis. Next is for an N-1 contingency, which simulates the outage of a single element from line and cables, generators, and we exclude the generators. Sorry, we exclude the load. And then after we define the N-1 contingency, then application will simulate the outage and analyze the impact on the power system. Next. After we define the criteria for N-1 contingency, this is we use voltage magnitude must be within my standard voltage range. Is Vmax is 1.06 per unit and V my minimum is 0.94 per unit for normal operating conditions. This is the case one. The issues is we use the minimum voltage in the condition. There are several contingency situations that are already we running where voltage violations occur on several buses in the bus 32, bus 15, and bus 34, as we can see the left up picture. Here we will consider one situation in bus 15, where the voltage violation from the previous is 1.0615 per unit, and voltage decreased to 0.938 per unit. If a fault occurs on line 15 and 16, and the line fails, voltage angle, there is slight but not very significant difference, as we can see from the picture. Next. So this is a recommendation from our group to mitigation the case before. We recommend fulfilling the contingency that has been implemented by adding transmission line 15 in between 16 is the new one. Same specification as line 15 and 16 before. So we put in the next transmission line 15 and 15, so lines 15 and 16 is become double. The result, when the running load flow program, the load is divided into two equally, and that proves the load flow is running smoothly by reporting there is no error. Simulate by opening this circuit breaker position on line 15 and 16 in the old one, as we call outage simulation, shows the no voltage violation on bus 15. And bus 15, we're running contingency N-1 again. There is no longer appears in the result on the second contingency report. And voltage magnitude and angle report shows from the 0.935 per unit to 1.0 0.13 per unit after adding the new line. So next one. So this is our case, second case. So we break it into the maximum voltage violation. So same as before, in the second contingency case that we run, we choose one of the case voltage violation that exceeds the upper limit on the voltage sides. Several voltage appear on the several buses, as we can see from bus 24, 26, bus 1, 25, 28, and 2. The case we choose is the voltage violation that occurs on bus 26. If there is a problem on the line 26 into 27, which causes the outage voltage of the bus 26 was previously 1.052 per unit, and after line 26 and 27 outage, it becomes 1.074 per unit. Next. So this is recommendation solution. We recommend fulfilling the contingency that has been implemented by adding new shunt reactor in bus 26, which has maximum tap changer of up to 10, and each tap changer can absorb FAR of 10 megaFAR. However, the different from the report resolved for the previous case, where the shunt reactor is not included in the components in the contingency afterwards. So by adding reactor, it can still accommodate the excess voltage violation on bus 26. It also shows that the magnitude and angle voltage are still in normal positions, not exceeding the specified limit, which is 1.06 per unit. Next. So this is the single line diagram new from after mitigation for two cases that we running in contingency. Difference from base case is we already adding the new line is line 15 and 16 new line, and the install shunt reactor in the bus 26. Next. So this is the comparison power flow based on MATLAB and Dixieland. MATLAB using Gauss-Seidel method. In the other hand, Dixieland using New-Repson method. For iteration, only 4 iteration needed in Dixieland compared to 21 iteration or MATLAB. Both MATLAB and Dixieland show the same values for total load. And there is slight difference in the calculated total losses. MATLAB reports 43.7 megawatt and 1.5 megaFAR, while Dixieland saw 43.31, 175.5 megaFAR. The discrepancy is a minor, is 0.4 megawatt and 1.3 megaFAR, but it could be due to rounding errors to slight violation by modeling assumption between the two software. Dixieland Power Factory offers a more efficient solution for power flow analysis due to its use of the NR method, Newton-Raphson method, and built-in contingency analysis. Next. So we use method screening and ranking for contingency N-1. We can see which component is being taken out each scenario, such as generator, line, is outage, how outage might impact the different parts of the system. So it's like line 15 to 16 is outage, so it impact the bus 15 voltage is under limit. So for upper maximum voltage limit, example is line 26 and 27 outage, its impact bus 26 voltage upper limit. So next. By this all, we're running contingency in Dixieland Power Factory contingency. So we can conclude is best case simulation uses Dixieland's Newton-Raphson method, which is apparently faster and more efficient than MATLAB Gauss-Seidel method, according to the table. Contingency analysis performs simulation of N-1 contingencies, which means simulating outage of single elements in the power system to identify the worst case scenario based on the voltage limits violations. Mitigation strategies include resolving voltage issues by adding new lines and shunt reactors. Result summary say that study achieve enhanced system stability and reliability through effective mitigation planning. Key findings is that the study ensures voltage stability and reliability under both normal and contingency condition. So this is for our presentation. Thank you for your attention.